Mendeecees has generated fresh speculation by asserting that Erica is attempting to destroy his name with a secret DNA test. Discussed leaked texts and confidential lab findings have flooded social media, leaving followers divided and insatiably curious. No one truly understands what transpired behind people buzzing, even though it's closed. Did Erica really organize a secret test to corner DCs? One more turn in their twisted relationship as frantic screenshots, voice notes, and heated text conversations bombard the internet with inquiries that never stop. Why would Erica take such a large amount of danger until she felt surrounded? And even then, why would Mindy react so quickly without viewers experiencing something more profound? Are unable to determine which version is valid. The truth, even those closest to the pair, family members and acquaintances, have been dragged to join the action by exchanging opposing tales that simply serve to increase misunderstanding. One moment when a heartfelt apology is discussed, the next is outright deception. Assuming control of the story, fans are scrolling while locked to their displays, searching each post for a single hint. In order to uncover the truth, stay with us while we examine the clues and filter through the rumors, and contemplate if this DNA drama potentially changes the narrative of Mendeecees and Erica. What you're going to hear is upside down. May change your perception off new. While browsing in the late-night minds exploded all around Erica, began when a person who wanted to remain anonymous on a popular website posted what they said to be pictures of a private laboratory. Discussions. In these ambiguous screenshots purportedly taken by a lab worker explained how to manage a fast-track DNA example using a fictitious name after severe directives to ignore all alert protocols. According to the post's caption, Erica had made up a persona to view the outcomes before Mine's debut. After testing started, fans jumped in, breaking down each pixel right away, zooming in on phone numbers and timestamps, searching for proof that this disaster was Mendeecees' response went beyond simple conversation. His voice subdued as he looked away from the camera. According to him, I never agreed to that. The video abruptly ended, leaving followers frantically looking for answers. Some believed he refused to participate in a DNA test, while others believed he was implying a too profound 4 words. That betrayal, uncertainty, led to late-night arguments. Did Erica really do a covert test? Or was there someone else pulling the strings, strengthening their relationship with the first lab fan? Screenshots. Pages started searching for public information to verify whether the technician or the lab even existed. When nothing arose, the conversation shifted to destroying via Photoshop or a fabricated fabrication. The reputation of Erica, one self-described. A lesson was created by Digital Sleuth, demonstrating how to identify phony leaks. Pointing out typeface and metadata errors, fans of Erica resisted, claiming the skeptics on the video were biased and unfair. However, some saw the video as reliable. Evidence that the whole story was made up. Tension behind the scenes between Erica and Mendeecees heated up. A source near Erica recounted a contentious phone conversation that went viral following a brief audio snippet leak. Erica's voice was heard in the footage, tense and sentimental. I simply had to understand my position. You informed me that the truth was important. Mendeecees responded in his tone-guarded way. I would take a test if I wanted one. Come to you first. Then, following a moment silently, he said, but now it's too late. The call abruptly terminated. There, the audience guessed if their partnership could endure such a profound violation of trust. The source of the audio was never confirmed, but its emotional significance was obvious, and these secret moments circulated throughout the general populace. Began commenting on fan pages dedicated to polls that the pair should Erica informed him that Mendeecees' right to feel deceived in a conversation with connections that extended across thousands of remarks that combine legal perspectives with tips on relationships. On the one hand, Erica's supporters stated they were expecting a child. A lady asking for security permission breached her independence, on the other hand. Open communication, according to Mendeecees' supporters, is the foundation of true love and confidentiality. Tests constituted a grave betrayal during the digital maelstrom. A fresh voice came in, Mendeecees' acquaintance, who said he had witnessed Mendeecees and Erica's manager texting. The manager allegedly wrote to them, "Rush, we're paying for this or it's off." Among the shared posts were redacted conversation excerpts to conceal phone number specifics, yet rich in idea and tone. Each message was examined and debated by viewers. If the statements demonstrated sincere care for the future of the child or a cold, calculated method to get headlines. Once more, the veracity of the source was questioned. But for fans who are drama-hungry, every message felt similar to an additional breadcrumb in a live show. As the story progressed, Erica was dragged into the storm with her own family. Omar Rosa, a sister, posted an emotional video appealing to viewers to think about the condition of Erica's mind. "She's carrying life," Omar Rosa murmured while trembling. "Lips you accuse her of looking for responses." The video became viral. Introducing both pity and mistrust, Omar Rosa was charged by some with orchestrating the video to contain public indignation at its height. Some believe that her blood ties made her defense not only legitimate but also required. In any case, the post verified that what began as personal suffering has evolved into the public domain. Conversely, Mendeecees' cousin Jamal heard from his family, showed up cursing on a late-night webcast that Mendeecees had always been devoted to. Jamal described Mendeecees' excitement, been considering parenthood by investigating parenting classes to purchasing nursery decor. He was when the DNA craze struck. He said, "I'm all blown away," Jamal claimed. But I must know the reality." Jamal's backing was evident, although some spectators wondered if his version ignored the rifts in Mendeecees' beliefs. Two versions fought once more, and supporters were forced to take sides in a tale of conflicting facts. The story became more complex when another brief video purportedly surfaced. Photographed during a charity event in the shaky clip, a woman, who sounded like Erica, stated, "This will secure his future." Someone presumed to be a producer is the second voice, said, "Just make sure it's airtight." The audio was hazy and the video was grainy. However, subtitles clarified the purported conversation. Some fans saw this as evidence that Erica was applying for the test. Others urged the clip strategically had been altered, causing forensic experts to leap background noises suggested. The assertion was captured somewhere else. The dispute over the footage merely demonstrated how every new leak can raise additional queries. Then responses, while simultaneously majoring outlets started contributing their opinions. A headline on a leading entertainment website, DNA drama. Are Erica's motives sincere? Or the article's headlines generated new discussion inside the journalists discussed relationships. Counselors who examined the ethics of secret tests and valued integrity more than the final sentence of the piece said it struck hard. Whether or not this whole experience demonstrated how reality TV has changed. True pain into material that can be binge-watched, the comments were flooded by readers, lamenting how personal suffering has turned into social media theater during the lab in the center of the turmoil. The dispute remained oddly silent. Media questions were not addressed by the tech. Her messages ignited everything. They never moved forward, and some conjectured that the laboratory was restrained by fear of legal action. Thought it was only a strategy for distraction. The fury was only fueled by that silence. Fans looking through forums for solicitors and blogs for lab technicians to learn more about the search for evidence in the mystery sample became compulsive. Sharing digital real-life detective games. As the first portion came to a close, only a few supporters' emotional stress increased. Started to regret what had once felt as though a tender love tale had changed into a tempest of mistrust and harm that I just would like them to discuss in one remark. Another person said, "This is why I stopped watching reality TV. Heartbreak turns into a suspenseful scene." Infrequent periods of introspection alluded to something more profound. An uneasiness with observing Rail's suffering transformed into digital drama. Then, as the dust appeared to resolve, a new breach surfaced online. It was a draft of Erica's public statement. Erica was prepared to refute to the PR staff any covert DNA plan referring to the screenshots that are entirely fraudulent false information. The document continued to convey Erica's wish for empathy from the general population, and its existence implied that Erica's group had foreseen the reaction and made appropriate preparations to this. Suggested premeditation to some. For some, it appeared to be preparation. How it signaled the beginning of a meticulous, controlled public perception. Fight fans with high hopes wondered if Mendeecees would consent to a combined public DNA test too. Terminate the sound would be Erica's preliminary declaration. Be the last word, or would she take action? A news conference to move on with recovering her wellspring of truth. Near the couple made references to behind the scenes sessions with mediators and coaches, implying that discussions towards reconciliation have silently started as internet forecasts. One thing stuck clear as it swirled. This was no longer only about a DNA test. It was about the technique of loss of trust and who was poised to gain something from the chaos. The question had changed by now, but it didn't. Erica requested a confidential DNA test. But who benefits from keeping everyone guessing as this twisted story's first half came to an end? Watchers awaited the second chapter, where family standoffs, legal threats, and perhaps even a shocking admission would take the drama to a new level. And right when you believe you have discovered it in the realm of the truth about celebrity, scandals wears 1,000 faces. The repercussions of the purported DNA test sent shockwaves through fans of every circle demanding answers. Insiders fought for dominance after the draft was distributed by Erica's team. Rejection tagging the screenshots from the lab as false information. Spread by Mendeecees' camp, acted quickly to save his reputation in a late-night strategy meeting. With his attorney, the team suggested that he proceed cautiously. Fear suggests treachery, but never call out the lab or Erica by name. Hours later, a little video appeared on a reliable "I cherish our family." He wrote on his fan page, "But I'm waiting." Trust must be earned to make everything clear. Delivery of the message. Supporters became divided. His composure was lauded by some, while others blamed him for evading. But the general examined each and every moment of Min's film. Erica's inner group started to shrink. Ranks a private meeting intended to demonstrate after a visitor shared a video. Unity split. On a program about rumor, insiders explained Erica is both resolute and broken. Crying for a bit while practicing. And I wanted assurance, so I apologized the following time. She muttered to herself as she looked into a little hand mirror. According to critics, the scenario was too well executed, they claimed. Of a planned arc of redemption, supporters repelled. Her saying she was only getting ready to speak her truth independently. The family's tensions increased. Omarosa, Erica's sister, revealed another heartfelt pleading on the internet, pleading with the people's grace in the meanwhile. Her mother attempted to suppress claims of a family division across Mendeecees' cousin Jamal's line. Life to remind him once again of the genuine heart of his cousin beyond the controversy. But when questioned straightforwardly if Mendeecees would accept a voluntary, Jamal halted, hesitated, and avoided the DNA test. And the drama only began after that quiet. Discovering the reality behind the scenes demonstrates that makers adhered to a strict stereotype. Ratings had skyrocketed with each disclosure. Record engagement was boosted by blurry video. However, legal counsel cautioned about one mistake, and they would be subject to slander lawsuits. Came up with a mid-season part that connected the charitable endeavors of Erica with gentle nods to the circulating gossip. Yet each screenplay line was examined, redrawn, and revised by solicitors. Producers discussed if faces in leaked videos should be blurred or took them out completely. The outcome: viewers began to believe that the network was playing favorites in private. Executives acknowledged that the future of the program hinged on how they made their way through this minefield without losing authority or trust. Then, as the temperature began to drop, a new leak rekindled everything in an enigmatic, unverified Weed Bick days. Audio excerpt vague, but said to include Erica and a person, seeming uncannily similar to Mendeecees, from a group conversation that was disclosed among Erica's closest pals, appeared on the internet. One speaker in the tape stated, "If the exam is negative, brush it aside. If it's constructively, break it in public." Another responded, and we continued with the story, that the baby's future was the main concern. The voices were too muted to be recognized. However, there wasn't much space for fans who were taken aback by the chill. Computation emotions were running high. Analysts argued on whether Erica's camp was taking advantage of maternal instincts to create news stories. Skeptics noted out regarding audio glitches, potential indicators of "still the clip." Digital tinkering was spreading with every repost, fanning a fresh round of scandal. Meanwhile, time leaks started coming from Mendeecees and show a purported correspondence from his supervisor read to a public relations consultant. Emphasis his dedication to fatherhood, but proposed that the public waits for official records. Draft talking points notes were among the leaks. Regarding getting him ready for an in-person interview, everything was questioned by readers. Was this sincere regret or strategic branding protection? The family was divided. Family members were worn out by the never-ending. Others contended that in the media of today, the survival strategy in the circus was these thoughtfully crafted remarks and actual relationships. Through planned leaks that started to break with a longtime friend of Erica, revealed a distressing phone conversation in Erica had said that "I felt as though I had betrayed him prior to my attempt to have faith in him." The buddy is saying on a late-night podcast in an anonymous manner, showing Erica crying when conflicted about dread of being left behind, as well as fear of having a reputation for manipulating listeners linked to her susceptibility. They urged kindness and reminded others she's not simply a headline. She's a person. Meanwhile, one of Mandy's confidants disclosed that he had moved to a distant rental home. Just him, a stack, and his thoughts of court records. He was attempting to reconcile two different incarnations of himself: the man under siege and his soon-to-be father. These private encounters were revealed when a startling new person entered the chaos. A tech writer who focuses on digital forensics. Following an analysis of information from the files that were released, the reporter released a report. Some of the most devastating findings: screenshots revealed indications of digital modification of timestamps and typefaces that didn't match the inconsistent file beginnings. The report was unclear about Erica's name, but it undermined trust in allegations that went viral. Some fans instantly turned around and praised the digital investigative work by journalists. Others rejected the results because, in any case, the revelation came a bit too late. Throw doubt on the same level as popular opinion, then pose a danger. To lock into stiff sides. After crossing yet another queue, it arrived. From the shadows, an unconfirmed record. Erica's private treatment notes reportedly appeared in a contentious forum. Described her ingrained fear of desertion and a tendency to look for relationship control and mental health infuriated. Activists contacted the leak, a breach that cannot be forgiven, yet the notes turned into public square ammunition. Some felt sympathy after witnessing an anxiety-stricken lady. Others stated that it demonstrated a manipulative attitude. As the narrative hurried on to another boiling point, a last turn came. A fragment of an unexpected interview aired starring Erica's previous neighbor. She claimed to have seen Erica pacing her Porch late at night, having a heated conversation on her phone. One quotation caught her attention. "Is all I have to work with." Who was on the other? Mendeecees. A buddy, a producer, and nobody else know. But the rumors were combustible. Commentators issued a warning about mistaking a few individual statements, but calling it a conspiracy theorists went crazy. Unquestionable evidence of a grand plan with every fresh leak. The plot became more convoluted. Conflicting fan groups used hashtags. Pundits raised concerns about the ethics of transforming private breakdowns into a public display and behind the situations where the network of the program was, still combining rising ratings with strict walking against the imminent risk of legal action, intimate discussions during treatment sessions, and family get-togethers. Everything was now public land, and just as it appeared as though the storm would pass Mendeecees in silence, uploaded a pre-recorded message from fan interviews or perhaps a sofa on the side section with Mendeecees and Erica. The bold section of the pitch was the healing component. Television with huge stakes behind closed legal teams' hesitation over doors. It's Erica's birth is not a broadcast. A spokesman stated clearly, saying privacy issues. However, the network said, this is the story. America has been present throughout. In private, Erica felt conflicted. "I want my child to go into peace instead of news reports." She informed her therapist, but she also understood that quiet was a reality. Might be seen as guilt. Mendeecees as well struggled, telling a tutor, "I wish to attend, but I'd prefer not to be a spectacle." His remarks echoed the sentiment of many viewers. It is unclear where genuineness ceased to exist, and the internet was the first source of entertainment. Demanded closure for the countdown threads, guessed the baby's name and skin tone, and similarity to what was written on gossip forums, contrasting images of faraway babies. Cousins as proof, followed by a surprising 2-day silence with no fan page. No cryptic posts, no leak updates, nothing but quiet. Till a straightforward picture showed up on Erica's feed of a baby's hand clutching hers. Mins, no caption. Minutes later, I reposted it with the words, "Welcome. No more tests, just love." It wasn't verified. It wasn't a rejection. But it was sufficient for the time being, since in this world where all truths are sought for, distorted, and profited from, the distinction between PR and peace is flimsy. And somewhere amid the darkness of a smoldering, both sides were aware that this story may have stopped. But it wasn't finished yet. Beside her, the monitors steadily beeped. The stakes were bigger and the agony was genuine. But after weeks, for the first time, the no producers were whispering and the cameras were off. Cues. Instagram posts without filters, sweat, breath, and the excruciating pain of change. Omar Rosa, her sibling, later talked about the incident in a private days after the diary entry was revealed. She wasn't in that room as a reality celebrity, was only a mother and a woman, and when Erica sobbed as if she had never heard a baby cry. "Before the delivery room, I sobbed." Mendeecees remained still as the nurse opened the door and handed him the nod. He entered without saying anything. Witnesses reported seeing his face soften, his arms open gently, and suddenly there was quiet. There were no postings for 24 hours. Just digital, no hashtags, no leaks, motionlessness until one joint post showed up on Mendeecees and Erica's profiles. A black and white image of a little hand twisted around both of their fingers. "No more rumors" was the caption, only family. The internet became viral, yet with anything but with judgment. Unexpected influencers halted for relief their written remark blogs. One headline for a thoughtful thought article read, "From controversy to silence, when a kid puts an end to the drama we initiated." The network broadcast a gentle homage segment. Choosing not to participate in a full birth special, a change in tone was mentioned by producers. and they are certain that the next episodes will concentrate on private development and healing parenting. Comment sections expressing public views, brimming with warmth. Even the most hardened skeptics stop to consider the possibility. This is what they have always needed. The drama could wait for the DNA test. Faded for the time being. What was left was something more truthful and revered than any confession or tweet is a start. Monitors whirled in and out of nurses, buzzing like the background music for her anxiety and expectation. Family and friends waited with their phones silenced in a VIP lounge, but flutter with fan alerts updates, reminding everyone that this birth was not just a personal event. Was the result of weeks of speculation. Lawsuits and secrets that were exposed as Erica's doula's contractions became more intense, encouraged her to take a breath and concentrate on the fact that she was giving birth to life, instead of the controversy that had surrounded her pregnancy. You are more resilient. More than you realize, the doula said, urging her to use every ounce of determination into every thrust. Somewhere in Mendeecees stopped in the corridor. Taking a deep breath, a physician appeared, pointing in his direction, and at that moment he returned the nod, robbing himself of cameras that were blocked for whatever happened next. Between the delivery room and the rear of the couple's hands connected behind a closed door. On a stretch of pure white sheets, their intertwined fingers in quiet solidarity, following what seemed to be both the screams of a heartbeat and eternity. A newborn broke the tension by saying, "It's a boy," the nurse said quietly, positioning Erica's little bundle on her chest. Crying fell down her cheeks as Mendeecees trembled as he stepped in his hand, brushed a strand of wet hair back from the moment on the baby's forehead. For a heartbeat, they surpassed all rumors. Only love and relief were present. "We did it." "Succeeded," Mendeecees' voice murmured. Erica's thick eyes gleam with happiness, and he is all she is, and tiredness met his retort. Their mutual look said 1,000 words. In spite of everything, they produced fresh living together in the family living room. There was silence before. There was a burst of joy. The mother of Erica sobbed with a handkerchief, receiving an embrace from Omar Rosa, who had paced the hours in the hallway on the opposite side. Jamal texted with lightning speed to say their cousins are urging Mendeecees to come, a photographer from the hospital, the moment on camera by the network. Warm hugs and gentle footsteps before them. Families and congratulations back down in order to present the new parents with private time. But word circulated quickly and admirers poured online. Timelines that include congrats and prayers choose to start with a celebration and discussion hours after they have settled in. In a dimly lit postpartum chamber, Erica and Mendeecees examined the event that went viral. Of their existence, a close companion captured a brief phone clip with only a glimpse of faces showing the infant's little hand wrapped. "We have Mendeecees around his finger," Mendeecees said in a tone that combined pride and curiosity. That a reliable source published that footage. An insider's story brought in millions of minutes of views, and comments poured in. Some offered parenting with enthusiasm. Others expressed regret for earlier judgments. There seemed to be a little pause, evidence in the public opinion battle, that despite the controversy and the strategic family arrived first. Yet even in this refuge, the DNA question's shadow persisted. Later that night, when Erica fell asleep cradling the infant on her chest, "It's time," Mendeecees said as he gently roused her. Erica nodded in agreement as she said quietly that the assurance of clarity needed acting together. They captured a video. Mendeecees' tone was the first thing he spoke. "Sincerely, I wish to keep my commitment. We will do a DNA test when our son is healthy. Sufficient," he promised, and Erica added her voice. "Stable in spite of exhaustion, this youngster deserves nothing less than love and honesty." The video concluded with them sharing a kiss. Son's forehead when it was being posted to "They prepared for the United page." Responses that might transpire inside moments when the post was illuminated by alerts supporting messages flooded in. "Congratulations and congrats. This is true love. Critics, thank you for honoring your word. Also said, is this sufficient? Why wait? Yet, most appeared to be impacted by the unity of the pair in carrying out their dedication. The network is observing engagement figures and plans that have been announced too. Broadcast a special episode that highlights the birth and the potential of the DNA test, portraying it as the subsequent phase in the voyage of the family instead of a spectacular ruse behind the scenes. Attorneys produced the documentation for an optional test for paternity to be given when the child turned 6. The lawyer for the weeks-old Mendeecees wrote an agreement, defining the procedures for testing, procedures for secrecy, and public outcomes announcements. Erica's counsel examined each sentence to be sure she and their son's privacy and their own were safeguarded. The discussion was careful, much different from the mayhem of leaks. Both parties concurred in the rumors that bringing legal disputes to the courtroom would only negatively impact the child's health instead. They decided on a course of action based on collaboration and respect for one another as daybreak broke the day after the network broadcast. The unique interwoven video of the family, congrats on the labor room door, and the DNA declaration in the video. Test narrators used kind words when discussing fresh starts, and the strength of commitments kept millions of viewers interested. Some people cry while others are doubtful, yet eventually. The screen faded to black text next to the DNA chapter test, urging people to tune in for social media hummed when the truth came to light, eagerly awaiting Dinapter and Moo baby trends, indicating that even during weeks of enmity, the public continued to be interested in the tale of a family in the silence that, after Erica's broadcast, she clutched her son near, experiencing the burden of what Mendeecees sat next to her, and they had suffered pattern tracing on a hospital blanket. He said, "We're going to be all right." Erica nodded as he reassured him. Her heart is full yet cautious about the path ahead. Co-parenting while juggling celebrity and they would be tested in a world that never forgets. In novel ways, but for now as they found serenity with their mother and father. Their mutual pledge outside, the fans of the facility gathered to lay flowers and altering letters of support. Pavements become temporary places of worship. The tone of gossip blogs changed, concentrating on the promise and the birth instead of the controversy commentators considered. The speed with which public perceptions can shift when the focus shifts to new life. Some even demanded a review of earlier rulings, admitting that a rushed DNA, the humanity had been eclipsed by test rumors. In the center of the narrative, amidst the flowers and greetings. But alas, a rumor of hostility emerged, and a text that was not confirmed surfaced on a fan forum, purporting to be from a coordinator of the lab, implying that the optional examination agreement had a provision permitting Erica to postpone determining if the infant was, "We can adjust." The text said, "Unwell. Health-based timeframe, but document fans jumped in, must stay." Was this an indication of persistent suspicion or an effective measure to prevent the leak from reoccurring? Discussion as the IC community took a moment to commemorate and remind everyone that this story's certainty is always on hold. Consequently, holding a newborn and an impending agreement between Erica and Mendeecees entered the next chapter. For a time, the birth had brought them together. However, the DNA test was the final as you see them. The orbiter of truth, remember to navigate these unknown seas. That actual life frequently occurs in the scandalous areas where love, trust, and a child's future are in jeopardy. Balance. The subsequent action may involve a straightforward laboratory result, or the unexpected two parents' decisions were found to describe their own narrative that you have seen. The stress that seeps into the courtroom conflicts, and ultimately, the time when new life gave us the opportunity to be united. Now it's your chance to comment. Do you think Mendeecees and Erica will fulfill their commitment and provide a concise response for their son's sake? Or will there be uncertainties and holdups? Keep obscuring this tale. What lesson do you learn anything from their journey about communication based on trust and the price of public scrutiny? What do you think? Tell us which moment moved you the most below and where you believe their root. To next, your opinion counts. Participating in the discussion helped develop the story beyond the headlines. If this in-depth examination of their lives continues with your seat tense, you click like to express your backing and sign up to keep abreast of any developments. The DNA test is still pending. Parents in the spotlight, call the bell to ensure you don't miss any of our special coverage in which we remove the curtain coming down on reality TV's greatest dramas. I appreciate you viewing, and we'll talk about you in the upcoming part of Mendeecees and Erica.